Wow, another Lombax.
Wait, I have to find my friend.
Where are you, Clank?
You okay, Bolts?
You came after me.
Pirate mateys, attack!
We didn't follow that Lombax and his Robopet across dimensions just to get stopped by some fuzzballs!
Give it up for our hero!
Ratchet, we need your help. Nefarious
Hello everybody, MaxZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting collection reflection video where I take the time out just go through my whole entire gaming library. It could be a game, could be a console, and it could be a limited edition. But today we're going to be talking about none other than Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for the PS5, because I can think back to whenever this game was like first revealed in the lead up to the PS5, because I think originally it was trying to be within that launch window closer to whenever it dropped in that 2020 holiday season. Golly, that was back in that COVID era or whatever, but it did get delayed out until like the middle of the year of 2021. But I would say that this was like one of those standout games that definitely gave you a reason or an incentive to get a PS5 at least earlier on, before we figured out that there was a lot of other PS4 games that were making the jump. A lot of brand new PS4 games that were still coming out on the PS4 and not incentivizing you to get it on the PS5. But Insomniac Games came out swinging with this one, with this title right here. And this is one of the reasons why I was like, you know what? They are one of my favorite gaming developing studios out here, though, for reasons why, as I'll discuss here in a bit, of why this game is such a great and phenomenal experience from start to finish, though. So we might as well go ahead and jump up in this video. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, this is technically the very beginning of where I start my adventures off with meeting Ratchet and Clank. I think I technically redeemed a code to actually get the Ratchet and Clank reboot that was on the PS4, that remaster one on that system. Even though I dabbled with it here and there, I didn't really put a lot of time up in it though. But when I saw Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and saw how much they were using this game as a technical showcase and saying, hey, the solid state drive, with that being in the PS5, is going to make load time seem seamless, especially when there was like certain portals and stuff that you'll see Ratchet going through a lot throughout a lot of these trailers, and he'll be in one complete area, one segment, and be thrown into another area in another second. It's just crazy to think how much that, if you include a solid state drive in the console, how quick and seamless the load times are to where they almost feel like they're non-existent. And I think that's one of the things that Insomniac Games capitalize on well within this one game though. But with this being the start of a brand new series I had no experience in leading up to it, I was like, I mean, I think besides the technical showcase of them showcasing this off though, this game definitely felt a lot different from your traditional, a God of War or a Horizon or a Last of Us. Like, it felt like it had a lot of characters up in it, had a lot of charm up in there, had a lot of colors and stuff going up in it. And while yes, you do have some shooting elements up in there, you do have some melee elements in the game as well, where this felt like it had a very unique experience. I love the voice acting they were showing off in the trailers and such, where I was like, okay, you know what, I'll give this game a shot. I'll see what this game is all about. And this is well before I solidified within myself. I was like, Insomniac Games is one of my favorite gaming studios out there though, because as you're going through and traversing through this game, you know, you're playing as Ratchet in some areas and you're also playing as Rivet. Rivet is also a new character that was introduced within this series in this game. And I love the diverse to the PlayStation 5's or the controller haptic feedback. Because no matter what gun you're using, even if you do a small little trigger pull, a half trigger, or a full trigger pull, it felt like the gun was literally in your hands all the time. And I think that's just one of the things that just isn't necessarily appreciated the most within the haptic feedback for the PS5. I think that's like a really strong critical selling point. I just feel like not a lot of people really talk about that much. I mean, I really love that. That felt like it put me in the world of Ratchet, along with seeing all the beautiful, physics and stuff play out on the big screen in front of me, though, along with obviously you had that little bit of a microphone on the controller itself. So it really kind of felt like it immersed me within the world of Ratchet and Clank, though. And I always like the kind of space, sci-fi kind of adventure stuff that you'll see within certain games or movies like a Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, though. Like, you showcase all stuff like that, Star Trek, you kind of pull me in. Not necessarily Star Wars. I never kind of gravitated with that just as well, though, but at least for something like this, it had me hook, line, and sinker, though. And while yes, Ratchet and Rivet play very closely, I'm glad that in terms of like their skill trees or like upgrade weapons and stuff like that, it was roughly the same for either one. Whenever you would have to do a certain part of the story, you have to play as one of the characters, because that's one of my major pet peeves, is like when you're doing too many different skill trees or too many different upgrades for like each little thing, and it adds up and it just becomes more like an annoyance or a hindrance or whatever, though. That's just one of my pet peeves in gaming. I was like, I just don't like doing too much stuff like that. But I felt like this one had the perfect balance in terms of like you going through and upgrading and stuff. And while yes, it is really cool running around, jumping, hitting, exploding things, sending enemies flying, sending debris kicking up and stuff, and ziplining yourself from one warp point to the next, I loved every second of it, though. But they do have other things that are introduced in this game that kind of breaks up the pace and just a little bit, though. It kind of keep you on your toes just a little bit, though, because there are certain moments where it's like you'll ride on this, I don't even know what the heck that thing is, though. Whatever it is, it's like a little miniature motorcycle thing, though, but it's actually like a living animal you're riding up on, though. But it's like little segments where you're kind of zooming through there, or you'll just have nice little platforming things of that sort. And then there's also moments where it's like Clank had like some weird physics puzzle solving moments, though, and those were like completely different from the traditional gameplay you were getting from almost nearly every single level to level, though, along with, man, I forget whatever that little spider robot little tech thing that Ratchet that Ratchet always happened to hold on to and stuff, in terms of like computer hacking into a program or whatever, though. We had like little segments like that. So I like the little things they introduced that breaks up the traditional formula, so that you're not necessarily rinse, wash, and repeating the same thing over and over and over, though. And then obviously you gotta love the voice acting up in this game, though, between Nefarious, Ratchet, Rivet, Clank, all of them. Like, all of them did a phenomenal job and really kind of and they really managed to pump in a lot of life into this game. And honestly, if I had a PlayStation system growing up from like the PS2 era up until now, easily the Ratchet and Clank series would have been one of my go-to series to kind of keep coming back to, though. It's almost kind of akin to like a Mario series, where it's like, you're going to have a really great time every time you pick it up, no matter what game you're going through and playing. Which honestly, at some point I need to sit down and go through and play through some of the older Ratchet and Clank games, especially some of the ones on the PS3, whenever they don't necessarily tie that to like a where you have to play online, like cloud stream and stuff like that. Come on, we gotta do some local stuff. So I'm like, come on now. But all those thoughts aside, though, I did really love and enjoy my experience within Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I definitely say that this is easily like one of the major focuses for you to get a PS5, is purely for this reason alone. Now, yes, you could technically buy the game on your PC, but what if you're just somebody that's been, working on your computer all day long and you just want to sit on the couch and play a game? Well, if you have a PS5, I don't know what you're doing. You should have this game by this point, though. And if you're looking for reasons why you should get a PS5, I still say that that's a pretty good solid game to do this up on. And I know they released like the PS5 Pro at this point, which the Pro takes a little extra advantage of the extra power to stuff up in there. So you're actually able to play this at like the fidelity mode up on here with the extra frames, so like the 60 FPS and stuff like that. So the game looks even better than what it does right now, though. But at least while I was going through and playing through this game, I was playing in performance mode. I'm still rocking a 1080p TV and stuff like that. That's still doing it for me, though. Eventually I'll get a 4K TV, though. But I mean, that just speaks volume for how well this game was designed. Everything that happens in the background environments and such, like the environments were all great. Like there was never really like a dull moment or I felt like a slow moment in this game. It was always moving on to the very next thing, experimenting with different guns, trying to go through and traverse with all these different platforms and stuff, and seeing exactly how the story played out. While the story isn't necessarily super deep, it is really good nonetheless though. And I'll kind of leave it at that because I don't want to necessarily go through and spoil the experience for those that might not have necessarily gone through and played through this game though. All right, I could probably keep going on and on about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart though, but y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below what all that you think about this game overall. Have you managed to try it? Have you managed to get it? If you have a PS5 and you had not bought this game, I don't know what you're doing because Insomniac games are like literally some of the best games that you can play on the PS5, point blank period. In the discussion though, along with Sucker Punch with like the Ghost of Tsushima stuff. We're gonna get Ghost of Yotei in 2025, and I'm really looking forward to that game as well though. But you're tripping and sleeping if you hadn't played this wonderful game right here though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of today's video though. So if you really like this, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.